than anything else. I could see Cleveland possibly getting stuck in a 7-game series. I'd probably pick them to win in 6, but I could see it happening.
Porter is a pivotal player for them, the way kind of like Danny Green is offensively for the Spurs. When he's really on, because he can go unconscious from deep, then they're a lot to handle. But he's really got to be that in order to advance.
Can they push him to 7?
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Porter in this series right now that they're in with Boston, they're hiding IT on him a lot, so he has to be a little more aggressive and assertive and get to his spots and make them pay for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he was on Wall, that didn't turn out so good. when Isaiah was on Wall, it wasn't so good for the Celtics.
All right, gentlemen, it is time for Final Take. You played for the Clippers, Karan. Stephen A. has a final take on CP3 and how you should look at him.
Chris, I feel obligated to at least ask, have you given any consideration to your early termination option?
No, I haven't. We just lost probably like 20 minutes ago.
You are so disrespectful.
He is going to fall off a cliff.
Shut the hell up.
That's not even close to my best.
They're wrong. And I don't give a damn that they agree with me or not.
Look, not to be redundant, but let's be real. Nobody's blind. We all know what the disappointing, unflattering, paltry numbers associated with Chris Paul, a.k.a. CP3, actually are. 76 playoff games, 9-time All-Star, universally recognized as one of the best point guards in the game, and not even a single NBA Finals appearance, or a conference Finals appearance for that matter. But if you think for 1 second he's to blame, that he's the one who's come up short, do me a favor, please, and check your basketball IQ at the door. No, he's not the athletic Russell Westbrook, the sniper that is Steph Curry, the scoring machine turned point guard that is James Harden, or the all-purpose guard that is John Wall. But guess what? He's not 6'3" or above either. Yet still, that hasn't stopped him from being one of only 4 players to play at least 800 games and average better than 15-9, or averaging 18-9 for his career with a 4-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio in more than 35 minutes per game, while shooting better than 85% from the free throw line for his career. Time and again, he's proven things. 2 things. Athleticism and scoring isn't his forte. But if you need someone to actually run a show, it doesn't get much better than this young brother. I know this. Basketball people know this. And if Steve Ballmer and Doc Rivers refuse to embrace the obvious, maybe the time has arrived for us all to stop asking what the Clippers should do with CP3 and instead start asking what CP3 should do with the Clippers. At 6 feet, it's amazing how much of the onus has been placed on the shoulders of CP3 instead of Blake Griffin. It's also amazing how much Griffin has regressed, whether due to injury or how he's been used by Doc Rivers instead of having elevated his game, yet somehow was held onto for dear life rather than moved before February's trading deadline expired. Add to that DeAndre Jordan's inability to hit free throws, JJ Redick's miniature size paired in the backcourt with the already undersized CP3, by the way, and no threat whatsoever offensively in Luke Mbah-a-Moute, along with a suspect bench production. And what do you have? Folks looking for someone to blame. Could y'all stop it, please? What would Carmelo look like with Chris Paul as his point guard? How about Paul George? Hell, how about 90% of the league? We all know the answer. Everyone, that is, except for those looking for a scapegoat. The thing is, CP3 would deserve it if it were not for all the stuff placed on his shoulders. Except it isn't on his shoulders. Now when DeAndre skipped out, not when DeAndre skipped out on Dallas because he wanted to remain in LA, and not when Griffin is looking for $200 million, and certainly not when all of us knows he needs help desperately and can't seem to get it to save his life. Too much on the shoulders of CP3. The brother needs help. That's all.
And if you want to see more of our Final Take segments, head over to our Twitter and Facebook pages. You can leave your take there. Gentlemen, how about those apples right there?
If you're a leader, you got to make eventually the team more than the sum of its parts, not less. And that's what CP3 has done. I love him, but it is what it is. No pass for CP3 right now. He has enough. I don't want to hear excuses.
Stephen A., you hit it, brother. Let the church say amen.
Karan, appreciate you being with us. Come back soon. Stephen A., have a good day. Bye, guys. We'll see you all tomorrow.
With the first pick, the Cleveland Browns select Myles Garrett.
The Bears come up to number 2.
The Chicago Bears select Mitchell Trubisky. There has been a trade. Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson.
This is what I do it for. This is what I do it for, man.
I want to thank the Eagle fans for allowing me to have a career in the NFL. Deshaun Kaiser.
I think they really love Lynn.
The greatest fans in all the world.
That's cheesesteaks, man. You got to have it. You guys do some highlights. I'm going to do the cheesesteak.
Throw it down to Houston.
Raider Nation, live from fabulous Las Vegas.
Who said I have hair gel?
You did.
Mr. Irrelevant 2017 by the Denver Broncos. They select Chad Kelly.
Folks, that's it. The binder's empty. It has been our distinct pleasure.
NFL Live is presented by Navy Federal Credit Union.
And what a tremendous weekend it was. That's it. Those were the final words uttered in Philadelphia as we made our way back. Welcome to NFL Live, our post-draft roundtable, if you will. So we put a bow on this whole thing. Everybody's here. Todd McShay, Mel Kiper Jr., Adam Schefter.
Lewis Riddick, Ryan Clark, Tim Hasselbeck. I'm Susie Culver.
Well, we continue. It is Monday, right? So overreaction Monday. But this time around, we get to do a draft, a post-draft edition of Overreaction Monday. So I will start, read a statement. You tell me, overreaction or not an overreaction? We talked a little bit about the quarterbacks earlier. Deshaun Watson, gentlemen, will lead the Texans to the playoffs. Overreaction? Not an overreaction.
I think it's a little bit of an overreaction, only because, I mean, there's going to be so much that he needs to learn that I don't know. He may be a part of them getting to the playoffs, but I don't know if he's going to be the one who leads them. I think they're going to rely on the fact that this is a very well-balanced, well-constructed football team, and that's not to take anything away from what his contribution may be. I just don't know if he'll be the one who leads them to the playoffs.
I actually think this is not an overreaction for me. Marcus Mariota's coming off a broken leg. Andrew Luck had shoulder surgery. The Jaguars are still the Jaguars until they prove otherwise. And I actually think that the fit for Deshaun Watson ends up being good. And Tom Savage hasn't really been able to stay healthy. So I think we're going to see a Deshaun Watson fairly early, and that's a good football team around him.
I don't think it's an overreaction because look at the quarterbacks they've gotten to the playoffs with in the previous years. Right. I think he's better than a lot of those guys. This team is set up to be successful.
I was just trying to say it without insulting those other guys.
Oh, well, I don't play quarterback. I ain't sure. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's an overreaction at all.
I think it's an overreaction. I think Indianapolis will be better. I think Tennessee's on their way. I think the division has shifted a little bit, so I don't think mediocrity necessarily will get you in the playoffs now. And Deshaun Watson's not ready. I think if you're not precise, you're not accurate in college, can Bill O'Brien get him that ready, that much more prepared and equipped to be a successful starting quarterback? I don't think it happens overnight. I think it's going to be a tough rookie year for Watson if, in fact, he's forced to be on the field.
Slight overreaction, I would say. I think they could make it to the playoffs, but I don't know. When you say he led them to the playoffs, I think
he's got to be the starter.
Sounds like what I said. I can see Savage.
You guys are giving them. You guys are good fit. You're like they can go to the playoffs, but he can be the quarterback, but he's not the leader.
That's what this is. This is the smart table run.
Oh, I see.
Oh, this side. Okay,
we're going with the one word.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Houston Rockets back in the day did take Hakeem Olajuwon over Michael Jordan.
Here's the NBA sideline guy.
Hakeem Olajuwon over Michael Jordan. Now the Houston Texans have the Michael Jordan of college football.
Listen, though, to Ryan's point, the Texans have won 4 of the last 6 divisions. I'll just read the quarterback list of Brock Osweiler, Ryan Hoyer, Ryan Mallett, T.J. Yates, Matt Shaw.
Right. And the other 16 quarterbacks that played in between those guys getting them to the playoffs.
Oh, and they would like to get a little bit farther than they have.
Yes.
All right, so Tim mentioned the Jags, so let's go there next. Overreaction or not, that Leonard Fournette, taken by the Jags with the 4th overall pick, will lead all rookies in rushing. Overreaction, Mel?
It's a little overreaction. Leonard Fournette should, if the offensive line improves dramatically and Blake Bortles improves dramatically. If you're going to bet on that, you got to bet on 2 things happening. Tom Coughlin's going to come in there and be the savior and all these things because Tom Coughlin's influences there are going to help him drafting Cam Robinson and what have you. I think you have guys like Christian McCaffrey. You have Kareem Hunt in Kansas City. I think Jeremy McNichols in Tampa Bay was a real good 5th-round pick. So I'll take the field over a brick wall, which could stop Leonard Fournette.
We can tell who's not here on Mondays during the season, and it's Mel. You can't do that, Mel. You can't change the wording of it, Mel. You can't say should.
I said he should, but he won't.
Listen, it's not an overreaction. It's not an
Why not?
overreaction. Because for it to be an overreaction, it has to be like ludicrous, right? We got to be like, no way that'll happen.
So he's the favorite.
Yeah, it's not an overreaction.
I don't think it's an overreaction because by virtue of the fact that he's going to get a lot of touches. He's going to get a lot of touches running the football, and we're talking about how many he's going to lead rookies as far as rushing. Now, Christian's going to get a lot of touches in many different ways, but I don't know if his rushing numbers will be up there. Kareem Hunt's going to be battling with some other people who touch the football a lot. Dalvin Cook, I mean, he's still going to be a guy who's really, I think he's going to fit in as a third down option first, and then he'll get some more touch. So I think Leonard's going to be that first and second down pounder.
You don't
carry the ball 20 times a game.
If Leonard Fournette stays healthy, if he stays healthy, he's going to lead the Jaguars in rushing. Last year, Ezekiel Elliott was the 4th overall pick. They didn't take Leonard Fournette at 4 not to feed him the football over
They're going to get it out of him.
And they're
This
playing
is
with
the
a head
focus
coach,
of the
a head
team.
coach,
The defense is
and Tom
good.
Coughlin who want to run the football.
Our quarterback is making too many mistakes. We are shifting the whole focus.
Yeah.
We'll go with our
get his
strength, our
touches.
defense, and let's slow down this game. And that's why I think Leonard Fournette has a really good chance.
Did Leonard Fournette run well against Alabama? He couldn't run against that brick wall when you had no passing game. So if you have a passing game and Bortles is improved, fine.
If you think that, then where'd you rank him?
Has nothing to do with it.
It doesn't matter, Tom. It doesn't matter, says no.
By the way, in news today, the Jags picked up the 5th-year option for Bortles. They also drafted Cam Robinson. They also drafted D.D. Westbrook. They're putting a lot of things around him, so this is his opportunity to make work. And they didn't draft a quarterback.
And that's a big and. All right, speaking of, well, it's not a quarterback actually, but we're going to go back to the
Bracket,
if you will, Todd and Mel, and eventually we're going to get this. This is going to be smooth sailing. I think.
1 for 2.
Now's the time. All right, let's go to the AFC North, shall we? And Todd, I think this is you. Steelers, Ravens against each other.
This is a tough call. This really was, and I'm going to wind up going with the Steelers here. The Ravens, I liked what they did. Their front 7 after they really attacked, all the way down to Tim Williams in the 3rd round. Marlon Humphrey they got at the cornerback position with their first pick. Chris Wormley coming in from Michigan. They had a lot of good picks, but tough bracket here in the AFC North. Steelers, I thought, a little bit more complete in terms of what they were able to do. And then I went with the Browns, actually. With their draft, I say that like I'm surprised, but when you get away from the quarterback for a second and you look at what they were able to do, I thought that they were strong from top to bottom. And you compare it to the Bengals, I just thought that they had a little bit more complete in terms of what their draft was. And there was some, the character issue for me with Joe Mixon made this easier of a call, but I'm interested to see. I know they reach for him a little bit, but John Ross is a really good weapon and a vertical weapon. We'll see how he can produce and if he can stay healthy with the Bengals. I mean.
The quarterback issue is certainly headlines the Browns, but you have to look at the whole body of work. To your point, all of their draft picks.
It was good, but it's not good enough to beat what the Steelers did.
Good, but not good enough.
I thought the Steelers did an outstanding job. When you look at top to bottom, they were able to go out and get players in the early rounds, I think, can come in and make a big difference. And then they're able to get the quarterback late. T.J. Watt, they've got Juju Smith-Schuster at the wide receiver position. I think he could lead all rookie receivers this year with Ben Roethlisberger throwing the ball around. And then they get a quarterback to try to develop in Josh Dobbs in the 4th round. I thought was worth a pick in the 2nd round.
All right, here we go. We got this.
There you go.
All right. Into the AFC South.
Yours, Kuiper.
All right, thank
Here we go. It's all yours, my friend.
I'm going to go here. Tennessee over the Houston Texans. And I think when you look at where Houston can be, we're all going to debate Deshaun Watson and where he is, obviously, as a quarterback in the NFL, as a rookie, but more so down the road. And I think when you look at a guy like Zach Cunningham, he gives them what they want, size and length. They have great length in the front 7. Now you had a kid who's almost 6'4", with incredibly long arms. So I like kind of some of the things Houston did, but I give Tennessee the edge.
All right, Colts and Jaguars.
I look at this and you say, okay, where's Jacksonville going to be? Yeah, down the road, but I gave the edge to Indy. Fournette, where's he going to be? With an offensive line, Cam Robinson could be a mauler, no question about that, which will help him. That's Cam Robinson's strength. Can he hold up in pass protection? We'll see. Jacksonville also added some players down the line a little bit that I like. Blair Brown being one of those, a linebacker out of Ohio.
All right, so now we can name a division winner. The winner of the division is?
I look at this and you say, okay, you got the Steelers here and you got the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to go Tennessee. I think Tennessee is the team that did a good job overall, adding pieces to the equation.
2 years in a row.
Corey Davis, it should be Marcus Mariota's number one option going in, and they added a lot of other weapons as well. You think about Adoree Jackson. I think you can see him on the offensive side. He's also a great punt returner. Taywan Taylor, underrated receiver out of Western Kentucky. Help your quarterback. Marcus Mariota, don't leave him out on the island. John Robinson does a great job. Seems like year in and year out. He got Jack Conklin, the great right tackle last year, and he added more pieces for Marcus Mariota this year.
All right, we started with 32 teams. We've got 3 divisions left as we make our way to ultimately one team who bested the draft. And I think we did all right that time. We got, yeah, that was strong to strong. Susie?
All right, as we continue here, we'll dive into some of the more controversial picks of the 2017 NFL Draft, names you've heard repeatedly: Mixon, Conley, Lewis.
You're watching NFL Live, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union.
Has 0 added sugar, 0 artificial sweeteners, and 0 fat.
And will it up my game?
Nah, man. Oikos Triple Zero. Be unstoppably you.
At Coors, cold counts. That's why we lager, filter, and package cold for a cleaner, crisper taste. Because our mountain is brewing the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Light. Whatever your mountain, climb on.
You're gonna rock the party.
You do all this research on the perfect car, then smash it into a tree. Your insurance company raises your rates. Maybe you should have done more research on them.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I can just quit school and get a job.
That easy.
Hey, buddy.
I think we can do this.
Annan Bailey. Annan Bailey.
At Burger King, every day is deal day with the King Savings Menu. Get 3 fluffy pancakes for 89 cents, 2 flame grilled cheeseburger meal for $3.29, or 10 golden nuggets for $1.49. The King Savings Menu. All day, every day. Only at Burger King.
There's nothing quite as magical as staying at a Disney Resort hotel. So imagine complimentary rides to and from the park, even extra time with your family in the park. And this summer, you can save up to 25% on rooms at select Walt Disney World Resort hotels. So if you're not staying here, just think what you might be missing.
Dry mouth can affect how your mouth feels and how you feel. Discover Act Dry Mouth, specially formulated to soothe and moisturize your mouth. And try new Act Dry Mouth Spray for relief when you need it.
Oh, I just bought a hybrid car, this Ioniq that you see.
Who knew that it would be the perfect ride for me? It sips the fuel, the tech is cool, this baby really runs. Everybody loves it, from my ladies
to my bros.
You know, the world didn't need another hybrid. It needed a better hybrid. Introducing the Hyundai Ioniq, the most fuel-efficient car in America. At Coors, we built the most powerful solar array at any one brewery in the country, producing 22 million beers each year, powered by the sun. Coors Light, whatever your mountain, climb on.
NFL Live is presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA, and in part by Napa Auto Parts. Keep your ride running longer, stronger with Napa Know-How.
As our roundtable continues, we'll spend some time on the more complicated selections. Red flags for a draft prospect come in many shades of red. OSU cornerback Arian Conley fell to pick number 24 after reports of an investigation for rape allegations that he strongly denies. The Bengals drafted Joe Mixon, who was suspended at Oklahoma for a year after punching a woman. Prospects like Jordan Lewis, Florida defensive tackle Caleb Brantley were more talented than their draft spot due to off-field concerns as well. All right, Adam, you shared during the draft and after Joe Mixon was selected that only 4 teams had him on the board actually going into the draft. And then Mixon was asked very little about football in his initial time with the media in Cincinnati. How would you manage the message going forward?
Listen, I think that when the Bengals took him, they had to know everything that was going to come along with him. They had to be able to provide a support staff. They have to be able to provide ideas for him and them, how to handle this situation. They've been through the snuff. If you look at that team and all the players that they've gambled on in the past and had it, by and large, work out for them. Adam Jones, Vontaze Burfict. We could go on with more and more names. But yes, 28 teams either had him off the board or weren't going to draft him. There were 4 that were seriously considering him. He went to one of the places that was on that list, clearly with the second round draft pick there.
And Lewis, the organization made it clear. That was it. He addressed it. They don't want to address it going forward.
Yeah, I think.
How do you adhere to that?
Yeah, it'll be tough because there will be reporters who want to continuously ask him about it and ask him about his decision-making process and how he can ensure the Cincinnati Bengals, the fans of Cincinnati, and the fans of the National Football League at large that you're a changed person, that you're someone who won't make those kind of choices anymore. And all the Bengals can do, really, I mean, when you talk about how do they manage the message here and how do they manage the situation, one of the ways they can manage it is actively helping Joe Mixon make sure he's making the right decisions and support him off the football field, because right now, look, there's nothing he can do to change the past. They've made their decision. He's on their football team. Now, just like with any other draft pick, as far as you developing them once you get them under your roof, that's what they're charged with now. That's what they've accepted right now, so that's what they better do. Because otherwise, look, all of us are just, well, no, I shouldn't say all of us. There will be plenty of people that are waiting for him to slip up again. That's just the nature of what happens when you commit these kind of transgressions. That's just what you.
Will he be embraced in the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's a decision that many people in that locker room will look at and see it as the disgusting act that it was. And they will understand that. But it's also the most forgiving place I've ever been in my life. It's a place where you understand people make mistakes, you understand people put themselves in bad decisions, and you try to give them a chance to move on. And that's what'll happen. Hopefully there will be veterans in there that embrace the process Lou was talking about. That it won't just be the team saying, hey, you need to do this, or the team delegating these things for him to do, but veterans taking them under their wings and saying, hey, listen, this is the way you have to conduct yourself. These are the places you have to put yourselves in. These are the things that you have to do to move on and be better. I also don't think this is something that needs to be addressed consistently and constantly throughout his career. Give him an opportunity to move on from it, not only in his actions and the way that he conducts himself, but also in the way that you let him live his life.
If you're the Bengals, all you have to do is call the Kansas City Chiefs and ask how they handled the situation with Tyreek Hill last year. Because they did a great job of managing that situation, exposing him a limited amount, bringing him along and helping him grow as a young man and having him shine.
I think the situations are different, though.
I would say this. You brought up the locker room, Susie. The truth is, the locker room literally might be the most forgiving place on the planet. I mean, you have a wide collection of guys from different backgrounds, and they are very accepting of one another. One of the areas, and Lou alluded to it, that's really not that forgiving is local media. I mean, and so I think that in terms of how you handle it, it's about how you handle the local media that is telling your fan base, you shouldn't cheer for this guy. You should cheer for Tyreek Hill. I think that's as much of a problem for the team, and probably more so than the actual locker room.
And you know what? The fact of the matter is the difference with the Tyreek Hill situation is, although Kansas City did handle it great, I get it. Number one is where they were drafted, and number two, the local media can just go like this. We have this. Look at
That's the hard part.
And see, with Tyreek, it's kind of like it's left to your imagination, and the local media can just go, hey, Here you go. This is what we're talking about. Address it. Even though you want to keep it on the background, you just can't.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that you don't want to address it all day long, but you cannot stop people from asking, and that's the difference.
Wait, Wendy, 1 second, because our producers are telling us that WCPO, the local affiliate, has asked people to boycott if he is on the field.
The local media.
You're making a
and
great
they
point.
cannot control that part. You know,
Right.
you can only control your part of the narrative.
And Tyreek Hill, by the way, was a fifth-round pick who nobody necessarily thought was a guaranteed draft choice. So he wasn't discussed. There was nothing discussed about Tyreek Hill leading up to the
Until it
draft.
happened.
And once he was drafted, it was kind of a surprise. Then everybody went back to what he did, but no video. Joe Mixon had been discussed for months and months leading up to the
video
draft,
changes
speculating
everything,
on where he would go. Tyreek Hill, nobody talked about.
Well, here's something else that couldn't be talked about as a big lead-up is cornerback Garyon Conley, who the Raiders took, because that's something that developed, again, right around draft time. Is there more happening with this right now?
He's meeting today with investigators. He's going to provide a DNA sample. He's going to provide them a statement, and we'll see where the case goes from that point on. But he's going to do his part to cooperate with authorities. I was told Thursday night during the opening round of the draft, there were 3 witnesses at the time with him. 2 men and 1 woman, and police were questioning the woman involved that night. She was giving a statement to police, which I think will be defending Garyon Conley, and we'll see where this all turns out.
That's one of 3 players that have cases and legal issues coming up. Caleb Brantley is another one coming out of Florida, and Jordan Lewis, the cornerback from Michigan, went to the Dallas Cowboys. So there are 3 players still with open legal situations.
We talked about this, Todd, the few days before the draft. Did it seem like we had more of this time around, or is that just, do we say that every year?
It seemed like it, and I think in part because it was a lot of high players and the late breaking news of the Caleb Brantley and then Conley right after Brantley. And these are guys we were talking about in the first 2 rounds of the draft, and Jordan Lewis was another one. So I think that combined with a lot of injuries, too, with top players this
And
year.
the Peppers Foster. And that came into the mix late in the process as well, affecting, we thought, their draft position. It did. Look where Reuben Foster dropped to.
And more coverage and scrutiny than ever before. It increases every year.
No question, and that's not going to stop.
Look, and there's no doubt if you're the general manager or the decision maker, in these kinds of decisions, you better be right. I mean, that's given with any pick, but in this case, you better be right. But you're not alone on an island, because with a lot of these, ownership had to have played a big part in the decision. So you're
Especially
all
if the owner's picking the player.
you are all in this.
I sense something there.
All right, as we continue here, another controversial figure for lots of different reasons was Reuben Foster, considered by many one of the best players in the entire draft, but he fell to the bottom of the first round. We'll talk about that.
Is this my car? State Farm knows that for every one of those moments, there's one of these.
Is this my car?
This is ridiculous!
This is ridiculous.
From car insurance to car loans, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Pork belly and bacon are 2 very similar meats, except for a few key differences. Pork belly is bigger, better, smokier, different name, etc. Arby's, we have the meats.
I'm Joe Montana. If you were wondering how comfortable the soft, cool cushioning of Skechers Air-Cooled Memory Foam feels, here's a little demo. Go long. Now that's a soft landing. By Skechers Air-Cooled Memory Foam.
What is love? Love is what inspires me. Love is being awakened by a kiss. Love is finding calm in your partner's arms. Love is intimate. Love is everlasting. Love is a diamond. If there's one thing I know, it's couples in love. From the runway to the wedding aisle to the most romantic day of their lives, I'm there. Each piece of my jewelry collection is designed with lovers in mind. The Vera Wang Love Collection at Zales, the Diamond Store.
Schick Hydro versus a lube strip with 7 hydrating gel pools that give you 40% less friction. It's designed like no other razor to protect from irritation. Schick Hydro for your skin.
As it cooks low and slow for 13 hours, the brisket marinades in its own tender brisketness. The best brisket seasoning is brisket. Arby's, we have the...
Someone put a bounty on your head.
Every low-life killer in the universe will take their shot.
I'll just take them out one by one. I'm sorry.
I had that coming.
Supergirl. Tonight at 7 on Chicago's new CW50.
Looking for your favorite CW shows? They're now on Chicago's new CW50. Check your local provider for your CW channel.
To the IRS, almost $15,000. There was nothing I could do about it. I tried to make payments. When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3. I owed $15,000. I only had to pay $3,500, and now my debt is clean. If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
For your free consultation, call 1-800-627-6089. That's 1-800-627-6089.
Come on, Philly, come on. There you go. Very cool. He doesn't go to the bathroom. What you notice there is that Mel is the only one on the set. You've taken how many bathroom breaks in 34 years?
I want to thank the Eagle fans for allowing me to have a career in the NFL. Thank you.
The New York J-E-T-E Jets. The New York J-E-T-E Jets. You got a choice. Leave the set. You can either retire or no more hair gel. Your choice. Who said I had hair gel? You did.
I expected more from Philly. As many hits I put on y'all running backs and receivers.
How cool is this? How cool is this? Nobody wins them all, Mel. Nobody wins them all. Oh, he's actually leaving. Look at this. Come on. There he is. He's coming back. And still hasn't gone to the bathroom. That's exactly right. That would have been an opportunity for him to take his first or second bathroom break in 35 years.
And on behalf of the 5-time world champion Dallas Cowboys, Hall of Fame owner Jerry Jones, Gene Jones, and the Jones family.
But lucky for us, yeah, he's still just one break. How many years? 35?
And there's an asterisk.
34.
Oh, wait. Dare I ask?
There's a caveat.
There's always an asterisk. No, this one's legit though. This is legit.
All right, listen, and he came back. That's the bigger news as we continue our bracket. I just said that's growing on me, but you know.
Laugh at it or with it.
That's right. NFC North, Todd.
Packers over the Lions. Tough call, but going with the Packers here. The Lions, I did like what they did in terms of where they got players. Tease Tabor, I didn't have a problem with them taking in the second, even though he ran the poor 40-yard dash times at Combine and Pro Day. But I didn't mind that pick. Jared Davis, I really liked, and I like that you're bringing Davis with Tabor. Keep them kind of in line and moving forward. Here are the Vikings, taking the Vikings over the Bears. Vikings more complete draft. The Bears, look at what they did. It's risk-reward. And 5 years from now, if Mitch Trubisky is their starting quarterback and a good starting quarterback, then they'll have won. But until then, I think it was a lot of risk, gave up a lot in order to go up and get Trubisky at that spot. And then Packers, Vikings, I'm going to go with the Vikings again. I think Rick Spielman did a really good job in terms of what he was able to get with the picks that they had, maneuvering around as he always does. A lot of depth in this draft, and Dalvin Cook, another guy who's there's some character issue, there's some durability issues, but to get him where they got him and be able to use him as a secondary role, a complementary role, I think he's so explosive that it made a lot of sense.
All right, we go bottom right. We got the Falcons. Here we go, the NFC South.
There you go, Mel.
Mel, here you go.
Away.
Yeah, you look at this, I think it was pretty close. I gave the edge to Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers, but Atlanta, the Falcons did a good job. They didn't win a Super Bowl because their defense let them down. They needed another pass rusher to complement Vic Beasley. He's healthy. Tack McKinley can do that. Added a linebacker out of LSU, Duke Riley, to stay next to Deion Jones, and a playmaking corner who had a ton of interceptions here. DeMonte Casey could be a real good pick for the Atlanta Falcons.
All right, Mel, round us out.
You know, you look at this, New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints did a good job, but the Carolina Panthers, their emphasis was help Cam Newton, and they did that with Christian McCaffrey. They also did with Curtis Samuel, who's similar to McCaffrey, doesn't have the return skills. I think Taylor Moton, the offensive tackle guard out of Western Michigan, will be a key as well. So I think everything here, Cam Newton coming off the injury to assist him moving forward this year.
All right, finish this division, then all our divisions will be done. We'll be down to the Elite Eight, if you will.
Well, you look at this with the San Francisco, the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay, New Orleans, it was close. Tampa Bay, I gave the edge to. When you look at O.J. Howard, that was the whole key. It was about him and the quarterback again, Jameis Winston. They have Cameron Brate. O.J. Howard's a big target. You think about a guy like Godwin out of Penn State. Think about the ability of Beckwith out of LSU, Kendall Beckwith. Tampa Bay from start to finish did a good job helping Jameis Winston, but also helping the defense. And Jeremy McNichols out of Boise State's a good fifth-round running back.
All right, look, this is our post-draft edition of NFL Live, and the whole purpose of this exercise, this dracket, is to see which team fared the best over the weekend. And we're down to 8, so we've gone through each division, so now we're going to let everybody else chime in. So we have, a few more countries heard from, Susie, in just a minute.
All right, well, as we continue with our roundtable wrap-up of the 2017 draft, since it's Monday and everyone's had a chance to sleep on some of these picks, it's the perfect time for the real deal Overreaction Monday. And there's a disclaimer here that I am from Philadelphia, and I know that Ron Jaworski worked his tail off for months and months and months to get the draft there, and it was fabulous. All of that said, overreaction that the draft should be in Philly every year. Todd, what'd you think?
I think a slight overreaction because other cities should get involved. And I don't. If you
can't even give like a definitive answer on this.
That's two slight reactions for
Get off my back. I get Piper to deal with this. I say overreaction. I think they should spread the wealth. But I'll tell you what, if it's going to be hard to match what Philly did. This was an unbelievable event. It wasn't just a football draft. It was an event. And I was so impressed with Philly fans and with Ron Jaworski and everyone who was involved with it. To me, it was the most fun draft I've
You don't get to do that.
a part of. Go ahead.
Not an overreaction.
Okay.
You think Philly every year,
Listen,
huh?
I was undrafted, so I didn't get to go to draft.
Good point.
So this was my first time. And it was amazing. Like, it was an event. It wasn't just like, we're just going to call these names and people are going to boo or do whatever. Like, it was a festival. It was Coachella. Like, it was like, I ain't this old. It was Woodstock. Like, it was amazing.
How would you know if it was Woodstock?
It was, because it looked like it on the picture.
They had fun, right?
He read it in his encyclopedia.
Over a quarter of a million people attended the draft.
We did it in New York forever.
I'll tell you what, I love Philadelphia.
But you gotta
Love it. The
switch it
fans
up.
were great,
Yes.
but you cannot, based on what you saw, deny every other city. They got to look at that and say, how about us? They're jealous now. They're stepping back saying, why can't you bring that to my city?
Life's not fair, Mel.
I think it's important, though, that if this is a passionate fan base, and they showed up because it's a passionate fan base, I'm not sure that this is going to work as well in some,
Listen, take Chicago, for example.
The bar was
And the
raised.
key is year after year, would it be the same?
You know what? I would
now
bet
that they saw it that one time and they experienced that one time.
I'll bet in
will everybody come
Philadelphia.
back?
I'll bet in Philadelphia it would. I bet you there'd be a bunch of people who said, you know what? I didn't
pride
go
in it.
down there. I'm going to go down next time.
Because
Next year,
everybody
I'm
else
there.
did.
And the people who were there
You
saw
tell me,
how well it
tell me
went.
another city that'll
And they
turn
didn't
out that
get to
kind of
boo
crazy.
enough. And they were
Dallas, people will turn out in cities like Dallas.
That's exactly
People
what
will-
I'm saying.
that's
There
the
were
key.
16 cities, 16, that sent representatives to Philadelphia this weekend to site survey that city to see how the draft went because they want the draft in their city. And there are a lot of cities. If you put the draft in Dallas next year, which they've talked about doing, I guarantee you.
Not Baltimore.
Jerry's real. Baltimore.
Then Mel won't have
Green
to
Bay.
travel.
Can't go to the Inner Harbor? Are you kidding me?
Nashville, Las Vegas.
And you
Don't put a fancy football convention there, but the draft, that's okay.
you can guarantee it's going to be in L.A.
Yes.
When that stadium opens, it will be in L.A.
Well, we also have the
it'll
benefit
be
of
like the
perfect
Philly
weather.
fans
It
in
would be
LA?
All right. Well, we shall see. We continue Overreaction Monday. Back to the field. Reuben Foster will be the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Overreaction or
It's
not
an overreaction. It's an overreaction because
Why?
Jamal Adams is going to be the Rookie of the Year. So that's the end of my discussion.
lover.
Overreaction. I'll take the field. I've got about 150 other guys.
Yeah, listen.
Take the field. There's 150 or so defensive players in the draft. I'll take the field over him.
I can't say overreactions. I picked Reuben Foster to be Defensive Rookie of the Year, which means he probably won't be, because I'm never right.
That's not fair to Reuben Foster.
You've
never done a defensive
Way to set him
One
up,
single
Mel.
one.
Wow.
Way to set him up. Good job.
I like Todd's call, though. You know, it's the guy that he gets a couple tip balls, and you look up at the end of the year, and he's got 4 interceptions, and it's hard to look past.
Well, somebody's got to make the argument that it's not an overreaction.
It's not an overreaction.
Okay, there we
This
go.
guy's as good as Navarro Bowman. This guy's as good as Patrick Willis. Watch. And I love Jamal Adams. I think he'll be the defensive rookie of the year. I think he'll be co-defensive rookies of the year. How's that?
That's perfect because both of those guys are so likable, too. When you meet them in person, you want to root for them.
They're the two most ferocious defensive players in this draft at their respective positions. Any position, those two right there.
All right. It's unanimous.
It is, just about. One dissenter in the bunch.
Just as long as Mel's not picking.
Yeah, that's like the
Now that you said it, it's kind of
Don't just
messy.
say that Foster wants those other teams to pay for not taking him.
All right, and of
No
course,
doubt.
now that the draft is behind us, we turn our attention to plenty of unfinished business. I think those names maybe came up a little. Jay Cutler, Colin Kaepernick. Where might they end up? We'll discuss that when our roundtable edition of NFL Live continues.
He's hiding a card.
It's time for you and your boys to get out of town. Left foot, right foot, left foot, stop. Twitch your eyes so they think you're crazy.
If you walk the walk, you talk the talk. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico.
Hide the eyes.
It's what you do.
Show them real slow.
It doesn't matter where the ice is, as long as you leave everything on it. Coors Light, whatever your mountain, climb on.
I'm here to demonstrate the incredible stopping power of Duralast GT brake pads. And that is Joey Logano, coming at me at more than 200 miles per hour. But I'm not nervous. They're just like brake pads we sell at AutoZone. They got carbon fiber technology and a V-slot design which reduces wear and increases stopping power.
Introducing the new line of Duralast GT brakes.
Woo! Ha! Nailed it!
Proven tough from the tracks to the streets. Sold only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Umbrellas! You need one of these.
You wouldn't put up with an umbrella that covers you part way. So when it comes to pain relievers, why put up with just part of a day? Aleve, live whole, not part.
I want to give it to you for half off.
When did anyone start calling this salad? At Panera, a good salad is so much more than a bowl of something green. More than an obligation to be good. More than just something you have on the side. More than just one flavor, or texture, or color. A good, clean salad is so much more than green. And with Panera Catering, more for your event. Panera, food as it should be.
Oh, I just bought a hybrid car, this Ioniq that you see.
Who knew that it would be the perfect ride for me? It sips the fuel, the tech is cool, this baby really goes. Everybody loves it from my ladies
to my bros.
You know, the world didn't need another hybrid. It needed a better hybrid. Introducing the Hyundai Ioniq, the most fuel-efficient car in America.
Some moments are worth the journey. We'll help get the most out of every mile. Chase down your passion. Never halfway. Hankook Tire.
Our challenges dare us, defy us, and define us. Coors Light, whatever your mountain, climb on.
It's game day, baby! Woo!
Got it, baby, say yeah!
Oh, let's not be blitzing on me hard.
Go get the W tonight. I need 4 quarters from you. For your family. Put us down. Build offense now. Right, let's go. Push it. Go. To the line. To the line. No, you're right.
Welcome back to NFL Live, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union.
Tuesday at 7 Eastern, we'll have the final 2 episodes of We the Fans, our 8-part up-close and personal look into the lives of Chicago Bears season ticket holders in Section 250 at Soldier Field. You can catch up on all the episodes on Watch ESPN anytime you want. With the draft in the books, now perhaps a clearer picture of how rosters will fall, and this means there's a couple of big-name free agent quarterbacks still out there. Maybe it clears up where they could land. The first one being Jay Cutler, who rumors developed that maybe he was going to retire. His agent insisted no. Any thoughts, anybody, on where you think a good fit could be?
I don't have a landing spot for him, I got to be honest. And I think that he would have to be willing to do this. I think he'd have to go back somebody up. And I think he'd have to go back somebody up that he has a good relationship with. And that's not there's not a lot
of those.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think
which is crazy for a guy with his ability.
I think these teams are going to have to go into OTAs and go into mini camps with some of these quarterbacks they have on the roster and figure out if they think these guys are good enough or better or that much better than Jay Cutler. But I think that becomes the issue. People don't necessarily want to give him the starting job. So it's very possible he can be a backup. And as a starter, he didn't necessarily become a part of the greatest quarterback rooms in the NFL. And so that's a difficult decision.
Well, your young guys around
It's
him.
possible that Jay Cutler, Colin Kaepernick, something could develop training camp.
Yes.
Or even later than that. All right, Adam, let's turn to you right now because you have some breaking news.
As it turns out, the draft comes and goes, and some teams fill holes, and some teams don't fill holes. The Denver Broncos did not get a running back in this past weekend's draft. So they are bringing former Chiefs running back Jamal Charles to Denver on Tuesday for a physical to see what he's like at that point in time. And this could be a good fit for both sides. The Broncos sound enthusiastic about this right now. But Jamal Charles, who was a cap casualty right before free agency, is now expected to visit the Denver Broncos. And if you remember back in the day, the Denver Broncos love to dip their toes into the Chiefs' former players. Keith Traylor, the defensive lineman, Neil Smith, the defensive end. They brought them over. They helped Denver win a Super Bowl. Now, Denver's looking at another former Chiefs running back. Kansas City busy at running back in the draft, Mel, as you and Todd know. But Jamal Charles will take a physical with the Broncos on Tuesday. And both sides seem like motivated to get it done and enthusiastic about trying to make this happen.
Yeah, the process never ends.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting because when you look at the Denver Broncos last year, really their problems, I don't necessarily believe were the runners, more so than the blockers. When you think of the fact that they only averaged 2 yards before contact last year as a team, one of only 4 teams that were below 2 yards before first contact, that doesn't speak to the runners. It speaks to the offensive line. Really, to me, it's about, look, Garrett Bowles. It's about those guys right now really asserting their influence on this football team. And Jamal Charles is a wonderful talent. I don't know how much time he has left. Obviously, if Kansas City has moved on from him, they see some issues as far as what his longevity is. Everything about Denver on the offensive side of the ball starts and ends with the offensive line as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, they'll have 4 new starters on the offensive line from last year.
Yeah. But, I mean, Jamal Charles is the guy we've seen be able to take little cracks and creases and make them into big plays. So the huge thing is when you bring him in for this physical, obviously they posted some videos of him doing some drills last week. If he can be that same guy, you have a guy that you can create things with, whether it's out of the passing game or in the run game. And so I totally agree with Lewis. It wasn't necessarily about the runners, although it did shift once C.J. Anderson was hurt. In the middle of the season. But I think if you can get the right type of fit for him, if you can get some holes to open up, he's a guy who can give you some big playability, which they missed last year.
Sure. I think the hard part, what happens here, if you think about this is a team that was really good defensively. Talk about all the new stars in the offensive line. You can have a new quarterback, talking about maybe a new runner. I think it's a pretty good example. You got to be careful of when you have older players that are departing of what it can ultimately end up doing your football team. And they were in the Super Bowl not that long ago, and now look where they are. It's a team that is literally trying to rebuild.
Right, the team has changed drastically since that Super Bowl win, and in some of the most important positions of leadership.
All right, we're going to continue with our, what do we call it? The dracket.
You know what we call it.
The dracket.
You're the only one calling it that.
No, they put it up there. And see, there it is right there. All right, so we're down to 8 final teams. And again, the purpose really is sort of to determine who really did well over the weekend, given what we know now. This time we're going to give everybody a chance to weigh in. But we will start with Todd, because he's taken us through the Patriots and the Chargers, Todd.
I'm going to go with the Patriots here. I just think I'd rather have known commodities, and that's what they did with this year's draft, is they used their draft picks to go get known commodities, and Brandon Cooks at receiver, Coney Ealy defensive line, Mike Gillislee at running back, and Dwayne Allen. Plus, I like the Derek Rivers pick because that was probably their biggest need going into the draft, and he to me, is a player with experience, small level school, but can get to the quarterback. And then you've got between the Steelers and Titans. This was a tough one. I battled with this one.
Tread really carefully.
I am going with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ryan's going to think that's a job well done.
I just thought they had a strong overall draft. T.J. Watt may have been their biggest reach, and I thought it was a pretty solid pick. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think, is going to have a big year with the Pittsburgh Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger as the quarterback.
I think that Cameron Sutton pick also is kind of under the radar for me because he was the guy coming into the season who you looked at, he was ranked pretty high as compared to some of those guys entering their senior year. He gets injured, misses some things, and we know they need help in the secondary.
You got to give Tennessee some love, though.
Well,
Tennessee is right there. I mean, they have now got perimeter weapons on offense and defensively. Look, if Adoree Jackson can really turn into be a guy who is an every down corner who can defend some of the Skywalkers he's going to have to play against. But that's a heck of a
and what he was able to do without technique. If you watch his film, it was all athletic, raw ability.
Look, the Titans have built themselves a football team just right by the numbers. Take care of the offensive line, run the football hard, and then we'll get into the flashy Ferraris on the outside. And now they've got some of those too.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, there's a reason too. They're not reinventing the wheel for sure. NFC division winners, Mel.
Mm-hmm. Look at the 49ers and the Eagles. I really like Sidney Jones. Derek Barnett, if he can become Terrell Suggs, they did a real good job. But I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. I just think it's more than Solomon Thomas and Reuben Foster. Joe Williams, running back out of Utah, came back at a heck of a year for the Utes. Granted, they had some offensive linemen drafted, but this kid has ability. And Thomas is a dominator and a great attitude, great approach. That's what John Lynch wanted. That's what he got. Reuben Foster's all about football, and he will be a great leader of that defense. You got two young, big-time players on that side of the ball. George Kittle, underrated guy. I think he'll help their offense as an H-back move tight end. So the 49ers slight edge over the Eagles.
What about the other one?
Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers, to me, I look at that team right now. They're on the rise, obviously, and they did a lot of things, not beyond O.J. Howard. Chris Godwin just didn't have one good game. He had a pretty good year. Quarterback gets him the ball. He was fine. I think he can improve and keep developing on what we saw. And Justin Evans, an underrated safety out of Texas A&M. There's Jeremy McNichols, a running back they got in the 5th round. Doug Martin, obviously, missing 4 games. And I'll tell you what, this is a team that from the start with O.J. Howard, with how he dropped to where they're picking is beyond me. But how Jeremy McNichols dropped to the 5th round is because running backs always drop 2 rounds further than they should. The kid was a former receiver who can catch the ball. If the ball security is not an issue with McNichols, he could be one of the top offensive rookies.
So that brings us to 4, and certainly some usual suspects, Ryan Clark, including the New England Patriots.
Well, you know what? I'm excited that the Steelers are there, but the New England Patriots as a total offseason is what's impressed me. It's not just about the way they draft or the way they move around. It was amazing to see a team continue to acquire quality talent in the smart, intelligent way and continue to grow as a team when you are already the Super Bowl champions.
All right, coming up, we will crown a winner. We're down to 4. We're working our way to 1 to see who bested the weekend, and also our not-so-irrelevant draft picks, if you will. Under-the-radar players we think will make a difference when we come back.
Papa John's Double Play. 2 medium, 2 topping pizzas for only $6.99 each.
A deal so big it needs a replay.
Double better ingredients means double better pizza.
Papa John's Double Play. 2 medium, 2 topping pizzas for $6.99 each.
Papa John's.
This piece is so you. I saw it and I was just like, oh, I have to have it.
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments, there's one of these.
This piece is so you.
I saw it and I was like, have to have it.
From renters insurance to rewards credit cards, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Heineken tastes perfect every single time, and that doesn't happen by accident. It takes 15 years to become a Heineken brewmaster, almost as long as it took me to master this look.
She came to meet a man. She found an angel. Good, da-da-da. What's his name now? Good, da-da-da.
Still practicing. It takes 15 years to become a Heineken brewmaster. There's more behind the star.
Okay, now you're just staring. Right now, small McCafes, smoothies, shakes, and frappes are just $2. And every 6th purchase is free with our app.
I can access the ATM with just my phone.
Yep. Now in the Wells Fargo mobile app, you can request a one-time access code to use the ATM.
That's much better. You know, that would come in handy when I'm out for a run.
Or a bike ride.
Or when you left your card in your yesterday pants.
Or walking the dog.
Or walking your dog. I have a dog.
That is exactly the situation this was invented for. I love walking my dog.
We're dog people.
Everyone loves dogs.
It's genius. Have you ever just sat down and talked to a dog?
Papa Papa John's Double Play. 2 medium, 2 topping pizzas for only $6.99 each.
A deal so big it needs a replay.
Double better ingredients means double better pizza.
Papa John's Double Play. 2 medium, 2 topping pizzas for $6.99 each.
Custom Ink offers custom apparel that will help grow your business. Choose from one of our awesome designs or simply upload your own logo to the best collection of products like t-shirts, polos, jackets, and more. It's fun and easy to promote your company and build your brand with Custom Ink. Your designs, quality products, free shipping. Get started today at customink.com.
Cooper tires on the ground, go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter. So count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
Tires on the ground go round and round.
NFL Live is presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
We call it The Six with Michael Smith and Jamel Hill. Sports, music, movies, and more. Style and personality. Join them weeknights at 6 p.m. Eastern for SportsCenter on ESPN. Also streaming live on the ESPN apps.
And we continue now with our draft bracket, or if you want to get cute, the dracket. We've got our final four. It's the Patriots and Steelers as we look to crown a winner in the AFC, the 49ers and Bucks in the NFC. But first things first, Todd, take us through the final two in the AFC.
The final two in the AFC, Patriots and Steelers, and I went with the Patriots. Again, same reasons as we talked about because of how they used their picks, and everyone's saying, well, they didn't even pick till the third round. They only had 4 picks. Yeah, but look at what they did with all the veterans that we've mentioned 5 times in the show already, starting with this guy, Brandon Cooks, a vertical weapon for Tom Brady.
All right, Mel, we'll talk. We're going to get to one. We're working our way to one. But first, the 49ers and the Bucks in the NFC.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the 49ers. John Lynch did a great job, and I think you look at Thomas, and certainly you look at Foster, but I think you look at C.J. Beathard in the third round. His grandfather, Bobby Beathard, great bloodlines there. He's a third-round pick. What can he do? Obviously, Solomon Thomas is going to be a dominator up front. You know that. They drafted 2 defensive linemen the last couple of years, and I really think that when you get down to it 3 years down the road, you have Poyer, you have Barkley. Where is C.J. Beathard? They seem to have a pretty high opinion on the former Iowa Hawkeye quarterback playing for Kirk Ferentz at a really high level. You know he knows football. He's got that football savvy. Been around it his whole life. What can he do as a quarterback? Can he be the overlooked quarterback that nobody even discussed? It turns out to be pretty good.
An established program, a franchise that knows how to win, and then a first-year GM. So those are our final two, Todd. Patriots and 49ers, if you put them head-to-head, whose draft do you prefer?
I'm going Patriots. I got yelled at. The producer didn't want me to do this. Herm Edwards strong-armed me yesterday and told me I couldn't talk about it because it wasn't draft picks. It's not college guys.
So draft process.
Find me someone better than what the Patriots did. I just can't. I don't see it. But the fact that the 49ers are sitting there with John Lynch in his first draft, pretty amazing what he did.
Do you agree with Todd in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a tough call.
He hates to do that.
He knows that. But I think when you look at utilizing the draft as a process to get your team better, they did.
I mean, it was it's kind of tough because it's the
does it matter that
racket, not the off racket. Like it's tough. You know what I'm saying?
He's been holding that one for
bring it at the end.
Does it matter to you that there were 4 picks, Lewis?
No, it doesn't. You know, I understand how you're factoring in Brandon Cooks here, but I think what you like about New England is the fact that the types of players that they pick really speak to just how much they know what they need. Look, Derek Rivers is a multi-positional player that can play with his hand down and play in a 2-point. Who does a better job at using hybrid players like that than New England Patriots? When you draft guys like Antonio Garcia and Connor McDermott, you go, okay, well, who are those guys? You know, Troy, UCLA, just average players. Look at the Patriots' offensive line, and they have the ultimate equalizer. They have Dante Scarnecchia. Yes. That's how they do things there. They don't get the players that everyone knows. They get the players that they know, that they like, and they develop on, which to me is really what makes the draft productive or not productive anyway. It's not about what we're talking about right now. It's not about the college hype anymore. It's about knowing your football team and then developing them, and no one does it better than them.
The other aspect of it is this, about getting guys, because it is about the process that you know are good players, and then we've seen it before where they get to New England and they become really good or great players. I mean, Dwayne Allen in Indianapolis, sometimes you forgot about him, you know. He's going to go to New England, and whether it's a Gronkowski injury or just the fact that he's playing opposite of him, you're going to see massive production out of Dwayne Allen. You will. And then Brandon Cooks, even though he played with a good quarterback in New Orleans, you're going to see him in a role that maybe you never saw him play in before.
There's going to be a lot of players that we like in this draft that are going to go to places, and somehow it's just not going to work because they're not going to fit. The chances are the players that New England takes, they're going to fit, because how many times have they taken players that everyone else says, that's ridiculous, why would you sign that guy? And next thing you know, you're going, oh, wow, that's a really good player.
Dietrich Wise, their 4th-round pick out of Arkansas, looked like a 1st or 2nd rounder going into the year.
Brandon Cooks, 23 years old. 23, so he's as young as some of these draft picks, basically.
And I think the word you used, process. Process. That's what stands out in New England, because it's the process that's in place every single year, Susie.
And we'll wrap with this segue, because in New England, no one is irrelevant. So we'll finish up with the non-irrelevant players, and this should really be a nod to what the Broncos did at pick number 253, because you couldn't have a more non-irrelevant than Chad Kelly, the quarterback from Ole Miss, right? But who would be your kind of under-the-radar, non-irrelevant?
Right there, Susie. Alvin Kamara. I think Sean Payton and the Saints will use him in the joker role. He'll be a 3rd-down player. He'll be the kind of player that C.J. Spiller, they had hoped to be at one point, and I think this guy can be that in this offense.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Malik McDowell, who the Seahawks picked up in the 2nd round. Look, this is a football team, and our stats and research department fed me this information during the draft. And that's the fact that of the 42 sacks that the Seahawks had last year, only 7 of them came from players lined up at D-tackle. Malik McDowell will increase that total, and out there in that system, he should rip it up as long as he buys into what they're doing.
I'm going to go Kareem Hunt to the Kansas City Chiefs in the 3rd round, a downhill runner. He's going to help Alex Smith, and he'll help Patrick Mahomes down the road. This kid can play, very underrated, very versatile kid out of Toledo. Heck of a player with the Rockets.
Carson Wentz gets another weapon in Mac Hollis. I thought this was one of the more underrated players in the draft coming out of North Carolina. 6'4", 221 pounds. He was the 118th pick. You can't tell me there are 117 better players than him. He had some durability issues, but comes in with a chip on his shoulder, former walk-on. A quarter of his catches went for touchdowns, and he had 20 special teams tackles. This guy is an absolute special teams maven covering kicks and punts.
That's a Jim Cramer pick.
I'm going with James Conner, and not because he's the feel-good story of the draft, but because he can run the football. This guy was the ACC Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year 2 years ago, and we know we've seen Le'Veon Bell miss games, and we've seen DeAngelo Williams spell that spot. He's going to be huge for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year in the running game.
Mel alluded to it earlier. How about C.J. Beathard as maybe the forgotten quarterback in this class? Think about Kyle Shanahan having success with guys like Matt Schaub, Brian Hoyer, and Kirk Cousins. I think he fits what they want to do offensively. To develop him. Oftentimes it's about playing the position, not about the most physical tools.
I'm going to go with undrafted rookie free agent wide receiver Trey Griffey, son of Hall of Famer Ken Griffey Jr.
Bloodlines.
Oh, I just bought a hybrid car, this Ioniq that you see.
Who knew that it would be the perfect ride for me? It sips the fuel, the tech is cool, this baby really loves. Everybody loves it, from my ladies
to my bros.
You know, the world didn't need another hybrid. It needed a better hybrid. Introducing the Hyundai Ioniq, the most fuel-efficient car in America.
Liberty Mutual stood with us when a fire destroyed everything in our living room. We replaced it all without touching our savings.
Yeah, our insurance won't do that.
No.
You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
At Burger King, every day is deal day with the King Savings Menu. Get 3 fluffy pancakes for 89 cents, 2 flame grilled cheeseburger meal for $3.29, or 10 golden nuggets for $1.49. The King Savings Menu. All day, every day. Only at Burger King.
Metro News at 6.
Tom?
Hey.
Snickers satisfies.
Take it easy, take it easy, take it easy. No need to hurry. No slipping, no sliding, no bumping.
The Corona can always finds its beach. There's nothing quite as magical as staying at a Disney Resort hotel. So imagine complimentary rides to and from the park, even extra time with your family in the park. And this summer, you can save up to 25% on rooms at select Walt Disney World Resort hotels. So if you're not staying here, just think what you might be missing.
I'm Invests. And as a vested investor invests, I invest with E-Trade, where investors can investigate and invest. Invests. Or not invests.
This is my retirement. Retiring retired tires, and I never get tired of it. Are you entirely prepared to retire? Plan your never-tiring, retired tires retirement with E-Trade.
Liberty Mutual stood with me when this guy got a flat tire in the middle of the night, so he got home safe.
Yeah, my dad says their insurance doesn't have that.
What? You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Today on Intentional Talk, you are not gonna believe this.
This ball is gone goodbye! Gone goodbye! Unbelievable!
What moment from an eye-opening weekend will have the biggest impact as the calendar turns to May? Plus, show me those pearly whites.
I wouldn't mind being a dentist.
Frankie Lindor will make everyone smile on the best interview in baseball. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
Well, hello, 1-5, Chrissy. The Honorable 04 champ. Pretty face suits Rose perfectly. I think that's a home run.
Intentional Talk starts right now.
Is this good?
Today is Monday, May 1st. Here are your hosts, Chris Rose and Kevin Millar.
That would be the 04 champ, Kevin Millar. I am Chris Rose. And guys, first of all, we're really happy to be here on ESPN2. This is not a new show. It might be a new show to some of you out there, but we've been around since 2011. And so hopefully what you'll get over the next few months and few years is kind of a fun, different look at baseball. And you'll get crazy stories from my man Millar on how he almost broke his cell phone riding with a guy who just had arm surgery and is making $13 million this year. Let me just clear this up. My point is this. The rice in the phone works. Yeah. Well, yesterday, my neighbor, Clay Buckholz, who is sitting there and everything's fine, I just said, is there any way you can just, because our docks are about 50 yards apart. I said, can you just take me over there? Because I'm like dressed as this, normal guy, and I got my phone in my pocket. I said, sure, just jump on this because we were working on a few things. He's going to take me over in the jet ski, putt over. And he thought he was going in forward, reverse. Does that make sense? I thought we were going in reverse, so I was leaning this way, leaning forward. Instead, he hit forward, which makes you go in reverse. Both feet go this way, phone goes out, in my pocket, in the leg, so I put the phone out, gone, see you later. They said stick it in rice. The moral of this whole story is that the rice works. My phone, I wake up, Chris, and I've got phone, so the rice absorbs the moisture. And next thing you know, I don't have to go to the store and get a new phone. So I wanted to share that with you and all of our new viewers on ESPN. Thank you. Hey, yeah, for people that aren't following along, there will be a Millar to English dictionary available in the near future. Okay, so our world-renowned opening act takes us down to Atlanta, SunTrust Park, where the Mets and the Braves are going at it. Robert Gazelman and Julio Teheran. The Mets, they should be excited. They won 2 of 3 in Washington this weekend, and then Sunday happened where they got blown out. It was 23-5, and Noah Syndergaard, who was supposed to have pitched last Thursday but was scratched because he had arm issues and then didn't want to get in an MRI tube for some reason, left before the second inning was finished. It's now revealed that he's got a partially torn lat. He's going to be out a while. And if you listen to Terry Collins yesterday, he wasn't happy.
Could you see anything from him in that first inning that was wrong with him physically, or?
Throw 100. Yeah, throw 100. I saw nothing wrong physically.
You seem pretty upset yourself leaving in the
I think.
Yeah. What was your
What do you think?
Okay, so TC's really happy and excited and everything. Who's to blame for this whole debacle? Is it more on the player, Noah Syndergaard, who didn't want to take an MRI, or on the Mets, who said, okay, it's okay. You threw a bullpen on Friday. You look okay. Let's let you get out there.
You know what? It's not so much the player. I will say this. MRIs aren't fun. If you've never had an MRI, Chris, you get in this little tube, and sometimes it's a little hairy. So if you're claustrophobic, sometimes, you know what? You can't get in there. That's that. Those are the facts. You can sit back at home and go, oh, no, what are you talking about? You got to get an MRI. But this is the case in some instances. But I'll tell you this. If there was somewhat of a problem, we heard dead arm, we hear bicep tendonitis, whatever, tired arm, I know it's April, then if Noah was feeling a little something, let's just say it's something, because sometimes as players we're not honest with the medical staff or the teams. We want to play. Yeah, we're fine. Give us the meds, give us some anti-inflammatories, and let's just play and mask it for that 3 hours that we're out there. But if there really was something going on, then it's probably Noah, right? If you're not going to get in the MRI machine, and if you really think something's wrong and then this could have been stopped, then it's probably on the player, because we are the only ones that really know how we feel, and without MRI, I guess nothing shows.
Okay, Sandy Alderson, who's the grand poobah there in Queens, he came out and said, well, what do you want me to do? You want me to strap him down to a table and put him in an MRI tube? Okay, if he doesn't want to do that, and I get it, Noah Syndergaard added 15 pounds of muscle in the offseason, so now he's like 7'3" and 386 pounds.
That's right.
I get it, he's a big dude.
That's right.
But you're a father of 4, I'm a father of 2. Sometimes we have to look out for our kids, and we know what is best for them. And if they say, no, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do my homework tonight, well then, do we just say, oh, okay, it's okay, go ahead and watch TV or play video games or whatever?
I do.
I know that's what you do. I know that's how you parent. Right, I get it, because your kids are homeschooled and they don't really even have homework in the Millar Palace down there in Austin. The point is that sometimes you have to step in and you say, okay, Noah, if you're not comfortable, then we're not comfortable putting you out there because we don't know exactly what could go wrong. Now, there's no scientific evidence that can prove that if he had gotten an MRI and they had cleared him and they said that he wouldn't have gotten a torn lat, okay? That could have happened anyway.
That's right.
But you have to cover all bases here. So in my opinion, the Mets screwed up royally.
Yeah, I mean, you can go that way too. And like I said, this is not, when I say Noah, if he doesn't mind going in an MRI tube, he's just doing it just because, no, I don't want to take one. Like you said, Chris, this probably didn't matter. Your lat, you're going to pull regardless. We're talking about he missed his last start because of dead arm somewhere in here. The lat's a whole different ballgame. It's like him blowing out his hamstring. Now, because he didn't want to go in the MRI thing, does that mean anything? You know what I'm saying? So let's not be too like, oh, this is because he didn't go in the MRI and the Mets are at fault because he didn't put him out there. He blew out. He throws 100. He's going to blow out, trust me. Everything is max velocity these days. Guys are going to blow out. That's the problem. No one's Greg Maddux, over the top, perfect mechanics, and repeat it at 88 miles an hour, two-seam backdoor 87. It's not like that anymore. Everybody wants to throw 100, and that's the way it's going to go. Yep. And you're telling me something's not going to blow? Here we go. We got a sore lat, blowing out lat, whatever it is.
All right, well, tweet us at Intentional Talk. You can let us know who's to blame. Is it the player? Is it the team? Is it a combination of both? Is it neither? Because it just happened? Whatever. Now, of course, as you would fully expect, Mets fans took it in stride.
As a 41-game season ticket holder, I just want to vent if you guys allow me a bit. Like, I right now don't even want to attend another game at the stadium. Like, it's so frustrating, the things that happen with the Mets.
Of course he's not going to come out and say, listen, I don't trust this Mets medical and training staff to tell me anything. These players don't trust that medical staff. There's a definition of soft, and it's because of the training staff.
The sore stuff excuse, the horrible nicknames excuse, beating up mascots excuse. But these kids need to grow up.
I don't have confidence in Sandy and Terry. I'd love to just put a stick of dynamite, get rid of them, and get some champions.
They have had a ton of injuries over the years. Right?
Stick of dynamite, though. Whoa, this is a game. Wow, Chris. They're only 6.5 out.
By the way, the whole MRI tube, not wanting to get in an MRI tube, I get it. I'm kind of claustrophobic. I've had 3 or 4 of them in my life.
Yes, I get it, because I know where you're going.
I've been there.
I don't like when you start it, you go, I get it. But let me tell you what, MRI tube, you got to go in. It's scary. You sit there, you can't move. I mean, you know me, I got to move, bro. What have you had an MRI?
I've been there. I can't get into it right now. Those medical records are sealed. But I've had 3 of them. I'm just telling you. Now,
Really?
Listen, for me,
That's surprising.
the thing that I was bothered by most, I didn't think my hips were going to fit in the tube. You know how I'm built. I'm built like a pear. So I was worried that the hips were going to get stuck and they wouldn't be able to fit me in the whole tube. So,
Yeah.
that was bad.
It's valid.
Hey, real
Your
quickly.
legs would.
Real quickly. We can't assume how long Syndergaard's going to be out. Could be a couple months. Who knows? Are they?
That's right.
They're not done, are they?
No, they feel like they're done. That's my point to these. They feel like they've been dominated. They feel like the sky is falling. But you look at their record, they got 10 W's. They took 2 out of 3 from the Nats. They're 6.5 games out, and they're in April. So, well, now I say May 1st today. My point being is they feel that way, but the standings, no, Chris. They're 2 series away from getting back to this. And by the way, the offense of the Nationals have been rocket ship fire.
Yes.
So, you know what? I would say, hey, we're as bad as we can be, and we're not 12 out. It feels like we're 12 out we played 18
You're right.
games.
Okay. Tweet at us. Let us know if the Mets are done, or you can take Kevin's advice and say, just remain calm. Remain calm. The Nationals, they have a 5-game lead in their division. They're scoring runs like crazy. They scored 170 in April. That was 29 more than anybody else in all of the major leagues. However, some bad news, because Adam Eaton, their little spark plug at the top of the lineup, done for the year with a torn ACL. Of course, he came over in that big offseason trade where the Nats gave up 3 big-time prospects back to the Chicago White Sox. Listen, they were fine without him this weekend. Obviously, they scored almost 25 runs in a single game. But big picture, what does this mean for this team?
Hurts, man, hurts, because I think the little month that we've really saw Adam Eaton since he, in a Nationals uniform, people are like, this guy's better than people thought. I know personally watching him, this is a ball player, man. Power, speed, plays the game right. Hard-nosed little player. Hard-nosed little player. So the top of lineup guys, Chris, set the tone for teams. A good leadoff hitter is so underrated at the big league level, and that's the truth. I was fortunate to play Johnny Damon, one of the best in the league, when we were playing, okay, with the Red Sox. This guy hit 20 home runs, stole 100-plus RBI. I drove in 100 RBIs, drove in, 100 runs. The whole package. Adam Eaton has that. He's got that whole package with toughness. So this long term, not the sprint, not the 2 games we saw, not taking away from Mr. Taylor, who went 5 for 11 in his absence, but long-term wise, man, this is going to sting a little bit, because what a player and what a big free agent sign they went out and got.
And what else do the Nats lack a little bit of? And that would be grit. They're the team that, you know what? You can run like gangbusters in April. We care about what you do in October, because they still haven't won that playoff series. And that's a guy who you wanted to see play in October and see if it could change the tune. Now, he said, by the way, don't count me out for the fall. Last year we saw Kyle Schwarber get injured the first week of the season, and what did he do? He came back. The difference here is that they didn't play Schwarber in the outfield. Part of what makes Adam Eaton so valuable is the fact that he can play out there, whether it's center or it's right, or can cover some ground. So we'll see. We certainly wish him the best of luck. All right, let's move on to what should be a very interesting series tonight. It starts on ESPN. DQ Ballpark Cam takes us out to Fenway Park. The O's and the Red Sox renew acquaintances. Dylan Bundy looking for his 4th win of the year. Rick Porcello looking to avoid his 4th loss of the season. Of course, these 2 such friendly rivals, as you saw last weekend at Camden Yards.
Down goes Pedroia, out comes Farrell and the trainer on the slide by Manny Machado. Dustin Pedroia is shaken up, and he's going to come out of the game.
I don't even know what the rule is. I've turned the best double play in major leagues for 11 years. I don't need the rule. Let's be honest.
I reached out to him. I sent him a text, see how everything's okay. I don't wish bad upon nobody. I don't want to go out there and hurt someone. And I know what it is to be in that position.
That'll bring Manny to the plate.
Right-hander Matt Barnes delivers to Machado. Oh, look out, he hit him. And there's your payback right there.
Baseball players don't forget.
Machado's pointing to his head. I got your knee. Why you throwing at my head? It's not me. It's them.
I would never, ever intentionally throw somebody's head. That's kind of a line that you don't cross.
Matt Barnes has been suspended 4 games.
See, now this is going to cause something that's going to potentially run over for the rest of the season.
Oh, it will.
Go ahead, let me have it. You know what I'm going to ask. Go ahead.
All right, let me ask the Chris Rose question. Kevin, do you think something's going to happen now? And I'm going to say now, here we go. All right, Chris, baseball players, don't forget. This is so recent. We all know what happened last week. And my goodness, every time you see the Matt Barnes hits behind Manny Machado's head. It makes you cringe. This slide, as you saw Dustin Pedroia say in interviews, this is totally not on purpose. He goes over the bag. Was it a bad slide? Yes. Not intent to hurt Dustin by any means. No. Okay, new rule. Who knows what the new rule is? My point is this. Will something happen? Yeah, something's going to happen. Whether it's these 3 games or whether it's this season at some point, yeah, something's happening. Because that fastball right here, No. I don't care who you are. That's not cool. It doesn't mean it's cool. And Manny Machado, obviously the best player on that team. And Adam Jones, I'm sorry right now, but, he's kind of better than you right this second. Maybe you're better than I don't know. You know what I'm saying, Chris? Who knows? My point being is that this is gonna happen. And I don't know who, and I don't know when. And I'm not saying Buck Showalter orders it. I'm just saying Boys Club to Boys Club, there's some repercussions somewhere. Somewhere along the line, someone's getting drilled. And that's part of it. And you're going to have guys in the Red Sox uniform sitting there going, oh, boy, hope something. When's it going to happen? And it might not happen 3 days. But they play each other a lot more times. And they are rivalries in this East. Facts.
Well, you know what? Apparently, Buck Showalter said after that game last Sunday that he had guys basically wanting to retaliate. He said, listen, just slow your roll a little bit right now. Everything will be fine. It'll work itself out. I think the only way that there's something that's going to happen over the next few days is remember when Manny Ramirez had that ball, even though it was over the plate, you were there.
That's right.
And Clemens threw the ball high. It was over the plate, but he kind of felt like it was at his head, and he overreacted. If somebody's kind of on edge a little bit, maybe things could go a little sideways here up at Fenway over the next few days. But I really don't see anything intentionally happening. I could be wrong. Maybe you're reading it right and I'm wrong. But
we'll see.
Who knows? By the way, it's interesting. Because you got Boston and Baltimore that don't like each other. You got Toronto and Tampa Bay that don't like each other. You got Toronto and Baltimore that don't like each other. So everybody hates each other except nobody hates the Yankees anymore. Like, what's happening in baseball? I don't get it.
Yeah.
You're
right.
Very weird.
You're right.
All right. So as I mentioned, this might be new to the ESPN family, the show Intentional Talk. It's not new to the baseball viewer necessarily. So we started in 2011. We've had a whole lot of fun. Let's just say maybe we're not the smartest kids in the class.
As the Red Sox rally, this season is over.
Mariano Rivera will work to the bottom of the order.
Did this win feel double good? What would be your last meal, a dessert or an entree? Hi, and welcome to Anaheim, home of the Angels. You may be tonight's Lucky Network Lucky Seats. Hey, Marlins fans, this is Kevin Millar, and I want to thank you for all your support through the time I was a Marlins fan. Thanks a lot. Guard him.
Who is Rose?
I mean, listen, if you don't like me, just say it to my face. Just go ahead. Turn to your right. Just say it to me. I can handle it. Go ahead. I moved in with Kevin's mom, and it's awesome.
I call him Dad now.
At the BP, I'm going in there straight to IT.
You didn't get the memo.
There it is. Yeah, where's yours at?
I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go. Let's hear it.
You're probably going to find out as you go out there that you're not going to amount to jack squat.
This is by far the biggest regret of my life because it's going to haunt me till the day I die.
Is there a vein in that left bicep?
Oh, for sure. Well, no. It's not great.
I can show my belly button. Now you guys got to show y'all belly button on TV.
Right here.
Oh, sore eyes.
Why do you spend so much time off the air talking about what different players look like in the shower?
Hey, 04 champ right here, baby. That's me.
He's got a keg body. I mean, look at that. It's just the same win from top to bottom.
You're number one in my heart.
I appreciate that, Uncle Kevin.
It's just sick that we get to watch you guys, obviously ex-pro like yourself and Rose.
I am like the number one fan, am I not?
You text a lot in the middle of the night when I don't want to respond to you.
Go ahead and grade us.
Oh, gosh. Rosie, I'll give you like a C-. You got a little beef there, but you need to work on it a little bit. It looks a little tender.
Why is everybody looking at me like I don't belong here? I forgot the sunscreen. I got the cup in.
You're going to look bad on TV now.
Well, I can't look any worse.
You get a nice close-up of nature's highlights right here.
I want no part of Rose's lack of athleticism.
Can I borrow this?
Yes, go ahead.
You got makeup on his damn wristband.
Oh, man.
I peaked at 10.5, Josh.
Well, yeah, I could see that.
Happy birthday to you.
Got him. 1 segment that I get talked and asked about the most is Kevin's highlights. Foul ball in Miami. Heads up. Could be a Sean Casey, but Casey got going a little bit. Kimbo! Heads up, little fella. Go. Oh, no! Yeah, Bob, heads up. Don't go back too far. Right jab. Boom. Boom. Chin, dirt, bag.
That's all you got? You want to be a champ? You got to train like a champ. Let's go. Push. 1, 2, 3.
It's about the time for us to finish this interview. Thank you.
We got to show America you choose.
Bam!
Oh, nice!
Wow. All right, so here's the deal. We like to have fun. There's no question about it. It might take some of you a little while to get used to what we do around here, and that's okay, too. So we'll be here 4 o'clock Eastern every day. There you go.
Hey, guys.
Okay? If you're still along for the ride. Now, coming up, was this the best day at the plate that we have ever seen? Just how memorable was this weekend set in the Bronx? And 2 of Millar's old pals leave a lasting impression overseas and in the boardroom. That's coming up next.
End of civilization.
I believe computers are important in design, but it's the human touch that creates design with feeling, creating a form that appeals to your heart.
Why are we so passionate about perfecting designs by hand? Because driving matters. Introducing the all-new Mazda CX-5.
This piece is so you. I saw it and I was just like, oh, I have to have it.
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments, there's one of these.
This piece is so you. I saw it and I was like, have to have it.
From renter's insurance to rewards credit cards, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Viagra single packs, so guys with ED can take Viagra when they need it.
Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain or Adempas for pulmonary hypertension. Your blood pressure could drop to an unsafe level. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease or loss in vision or hearing.
Ask your doctor about Viagra single packs.
Those who suffer from lower back pain go to great lengths to find relief. Finally, there's drug-free Aleve Direct Therapy, a TENS device with high-intensity power that uses technology once only available in doctors' offices for deep, penetrating relief at the source. Aleve Direct Therapy.
Tired of paying hundreds more a year in taxes and fees on your wireless bill? Only T-Mobile One gives you unlimited data with taxes and fees included. That'll save you hundreds. Get 2 lines of unlimited data for $100. That's right, 2 lines, $100, all in. And now the brand new Samsung Galaxy S8 is here. So what are you waiting for? Get the new Galaxy S8. Plus get 2 lines of unlimited data for $100. Taxes and fees included. Only at T-Mobile.
How you like the ribs?
So good.
What we should be doing is putting those ribs on a burger. Take the bones out. Let me say this for the millionth time. I will never put ribs on a burger. Yeah, I know.
Who would do that? Real ribs on a burger. We did that.
Nature made it delicious. We made it a snack. Chobani Flick.
What you doing? Just checking my free credit score at Credit Karma. What the?
You're welcome. I just helped you dodge a bullet.
But I was just...
Shh! Don't you know that checking your credit score lowers it? Just be cool.
Actually, checking your credit score with Credit Karma doesn't affect it at all.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Huh, so I guess I could just check my credit score then. Oh.
Check out Credit Karma today. Credit Karma. Give yourself some credit.
Sorry about that.
Take a look in the mirror. What do you see? Do you see it clearer or are you deceived?
'Cause I'm only human after all. You're only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me.
Start your Sunday with a story. E60, Sundays at 9 on ESPN.
Welcome back to Intentional Talk, presented by DXL. For the best seats at every ballpark for every game, visit MLB.com/tickets today. And here is your ticket for Sound Check.
The grand salami!
A grand slam for Ellsbury!
¡Empató el juego! ¡Empató el juego!
They've done it! They've come all the way back! A Bronx Bomber night!
Second career cycle for Carlos Gomez.
Hasta la vista, baby!
That was absolutely crushed.
Entertaining defensively.
That's a big league play right there.
He's got that slider working this afternoon.
Really strong performance from Dallas today.
The guy can absolutely dissect the lineup, dissect both sides of the plate. It's a pleasure catching him for sure. Kemp's got a 3-homer game!
Back! To back! To back! Oh, it's a lamb slam!
Ivan Nova throws a gem here tonight in Miami.
When they was looking in, they throw away. When they was looking away, throw in. So it was all him.
It's in the pool!
Touch them all! Splash down, walk off!
All right, Cam, time right now for the weekend that was, and let's start in our nation's capital where Anthony Rendon had a great Sunday. Let's see here. 6 for 6, 3 homers, franchise record 10 ribs. So that we call that the perfect day at the plate. Scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. How would you rank that day?
It's a 5 100% as a hitter to get 6 hits in one game. 6 for 6. Don't worry about 3 home runs. 6 for 6, 5 runs, 3 homers, 10 ribbies. That's a 5. That's the highest of the ranking scale, period.
I'm going to give it a 4. And I want you to hear me out because I want you to hear Anthony Rendon out.
You don't like talking about yourself, but I'm going to have to do this to you. You went 6 for 6 with 3 homers and 10 RBI today. You're the 13th player in the history of Major League Baseball to have 10 RBI in a game. How do you react to that?
Our pitching was, just amazing. They kept them down to 5 runs, so as long as we scored 6, all we had to do was win.
Can I do anything to get you to comment on your offensive day today?
No.
Thank you for the time, Anthony. Congratulations.
Okay, if you're not going to give yourself a little love, I can't give you a 5. I'm sorry. You know what? You were the best athlete in the world for one day. Okay? Live it up a little
Rice
bit,
University.
Kev. A little bit.
They got it. Rice University. Come on. Let them know. You're the man that day.
Yeah, we learned a little bit about Rice in the first segment. Your story was so eloquent. All right, let's move on to a great series between the Orioles and the Yankees this weekend. And it really was a pretty fun one. Started Friday night where the Yankees rallied from a 9-1 deficit to win 14-11 in 10 innings thanks to Matt Holliday's shot. Then on Saturday, the Yankees slugged 4 homers in the 12-4 win, and Aaron Judge is just proving that he's an all-out beast. Then in Game 3, the Orioles outlasted the Yankees 7-4 in 11 innings. A lot of twists and turns in this one. So how would you rank that series?
It was a 2. It was a nice, fun series. Friday night's game, remarkable, sitting there with a 9-1 deficit. They come all the way back. Yes. But because it's in April, I'm saying these teams are going to see a lot of each other. A lot of good games ahead. Love the youngsters of the Yanks. Didi's back. The Orioles battling. They got a game. 2.
All right, I'm going to go 5. Listen, I'm going to go 5 in part. Listen, the Yankees had an 8-run comeback. That never happens against the Orioles. It's only happened one other time in their franchise history. But also because of what happened with Brian Mitchell, who's their